Good morning. I thought I'd do a small video series on some of the basics of making coffee and using coffee machines, grinders, things like that. Because a lot of the same questions come up time and time again on the forums, or the same issues come up. One of the very common issues is, I think I got a stone in my grinder. And next time I'll talk about more what that actually means, what you can do to check your grinder, see if everything's okay. But let's start when you're making coffee. I suppose the first place to start is you get your coffee and there it is. And it's come from your local roaster, an online roaster, the supermarket, wherever. And as far as you're concerned, you tip the coffee in the grinder and away you go. And that's really the first mistake. First thing you should be doing, and I even still do it, you've probably seen this container in some of my videos, sort of tucked away. I try and keep it out of the way, because I will put the coffee beans in the container and I'm looking at them, I'm spreading them out and I can see everything. And what I'm looking for is things that aren't the same colour and things that are clearly bits of metal or obviously not a coffee bean. You can get stones which can look very similar to a coffee bean. You can either use a black or white one. I prefer black, but I've had this white one for years. So I'm going to put the next lot in, and I'm watching the beans as I tip them in. Yeah, more so than I'm worried too much about the weight. And then I get my last few beans. Okay, I'm a little bit over, take one out. Now, the next thing I want to do, move the beans about a bit. I even keep, just get a magnet off your fridge, I keep one on the fridge. Have a sweep around in case there's something you missed. Very rare, there is. Now, one of the other things you can do as well, you're checking the beans for the stones, for foreign objects, for aluminium ring pour can, lid bits, which won't always show up, bits of metal, bits of rock, even powdery rock, that'll often go through the grinder, do some damage, you'll never know. And if I want to improve my cup, quite often you'll get coffee where you'll get a bean that's obviously black or burnt or much lighter than the rest. I'm trying to find one that's really light in amongst my coffee. I tend to buy coffee of a quality that it roasts up very even. But let's pretend that bean was lighter than the rest. Take it out. You know, or this one here, just remove the bean. And what this will do is, if you've got some bad beans, it'll markedly improve the cup quality, and obviously you can add a few more beans to get weight. Let me give you an example of beans you might remove. Here's a roast. It's not a particularly good one. And in there, if that was in my roasted portion of beans, I would probably be, there's one. It's called a Quaker. It's lighter than the other beans because it's got lower sugar. You're not going to get any benefit keeping that in the cup, so you can pull those out, the very light ones, and any burnt ones or any insect damage ones. And if you pull out these bad beans, you'll actually get a better cup. And you'll often see baristas in barista competitions sorting out the very best beans to get the best cup of coffee they can in the championship. I've seen it a few times. So we've checked our beans, we've looked at them. Only now should we tip them in the grinder. So we go to the grinder. As you know, I use a niche. A lot of people will probably put the beans into this grind cup here, load them up and tip them in. No, don't do that. If you're going to sort your beans, take them into a wide flat container, tip them in the grinder, and you're ready to go.